I'm hungry.
Limited edition? There are those words again! It's CINNA FUEGO Toast Crunch by General Mills. In these days where supreme heat reigns supreme, the most unlikely candidate steps from out the crowd. It's Cinnamon Toast Crunch with the sweet cinnamon heat turned up to the nines. You'll think it's only cereal, but this is a challenge food strictly for the headstrong.
Well, here I thought hitting episode 300 was this grand occasion, and that maybe things would only go upward from here? It's easy to forget that ticking timer constantly running over my head. I just looked in my closet at the amount of shirts that I have left. There aren't that many in there. A lethal dose of reality has just smacked me in the face. What am I to do? I guess I have to quickly get all my stuff in order. All the stuff that I've wanted to do, I better get out the way now! So perhaps now would be as good a time as any to do a Mocha's Limbo Grub 10? One of my main motivators for Limbo Grub is music from old video games. I've always been a fan of old school 8 and 16-bit game soundtracks, and I've been making movies since I was a teen, using these games to provide their scores. Not high scores as in video games, I mean movie scores. You know what I mean. I've had a long list of awesome tunes sitting on the bench just waiting to be used. Many games I have dipped into multiple times because the track listing was just too rich and juicy. This top 10 list celebrates those unique games that had a knack to give and keep on giving to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the top 10! You know what? This is gonna be real quick, so what the hell? The top 20 video game soundtracks on Limbo Grub! Raging Fighter, a hard-hitting, ass-kicking soundtrack for a game that is surprisingly not bad. For a fighter with only 2 buttons. Alright, you can make fun of Shadow Blasters all you want. It's twitchy, it's ugly, it's too easy, but try and make fun of its soundtrack, you and me are gonna tangle. Mega Man 3. You know, a lot of people say that 3 is their favorite game of the series. I say 2 is the best, no contest. The same thing goes for the soundtrack. I always found 3's tunes to be very gloomy, and yet they were perfect for Limbo, bro. What does that say? Superman for the NES, a terrible game that I am truly fascinated by. And yet, every time I pick it up, it's like it doesn't want me to play it. Just because Revenge of Shinobi is showing up in the middle of the pack, don't think that reflects my feelings towards this soundtrack. Even in current day, this game has one of the best soundtracks ever. Maybe in my personal top 3.
X-Men, welcome to die?
No, I say welcome to rock! The sounds of X-Men on the Genesis are stinky fartastic, sure, but there's no more hard-hitting, bass-thumping percussion out there. No need, I can hear you. But how can that be, DJ Clyde? You've only used Streets of Rage music 2 or 3 times in past projects. How can you rate it so high? I'm looking into the future, folks. Fighter for the NES is a lot like Dune or Blade Runner. Young kids cannot possibly like it. If it burned you as a kid, try going back to it now. It ages like fine wine. The soundtrack for Ghostbusters on the Genesis is a rare bird. It has moments of goofiness, but mostly it's straight-laced and serious. Perhaps that's what makes it memorable. Oh look! It's Mystic Defender! Who knew that this is a game based on the Peacock King? Which is a movie that I've apparently seen because, going through my archives, I found this bootleg video of it. Damned if I remember. And number one with a tomahawk, Super Adventure Island. Always was one of my favorite soundtracks and the perfect score for my silly little eating show. Nearly every track off this OST has been used in some fashion. I'm home. Limited edition, there are those words again. What am I looking at here today? CINNA FUEGO Toast Crunch. Could we have veered any more off the original mission statement? I feel really stupid having to say this out loud. But looking at this, I feel like I kinda sorta have to. The original intent of Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal by General Mills was to simulate the taste of cinnamon toast, something that already existed in everyday life. And I remember when Cinnamon Toast Crunch first came out, and it was a bomb diggity of a cereal. No other cereal had visible sugar and cinnamon all over it. It was unique, it was very sweet, it almost tasted like you were eating candy. I loved Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and I ate it for years and years. And they didn't really change the formula. They just kept steady as the course. The box looked the same for years. You imagine like the whole process of this Cinnamon Toast Crunch's lifespan was like them driving on a smoothly paved road. They got one hand on the steering wheel and it's just smooth sailing. They got cruise control. They got the most wonderful shocks in the world. They don't feel a single bump. And they're driving down that road, coasting up their popularity. There's not a landmark to be seen. Every once in a while, on his right side, he sees an exit ramp. They just blow right by it. They just keep going. And it's just nothing but you in the open road, and maybe your eyelids start to get a little heavy. Maybe your yawn starts to stretch its way across your lips, and you're saying, man, well, this is smooth sailing, but there's gotta be more to life than this, right? You know what? I think I'm gonna get off of one of those exit ramps. That road that you were comfortable on has veered off, but you're still on a road. And this road is French Toast Crunch. Something else that exists in nature, and people love French toast, and people love French Toast Crunch cereal. So you're coasting on this road now, like, oh wow, I wonder what else is out there. Wow, Apple Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cinnagram Toast Crunch, Blueberry Toast Crunch. Oh wow, churros. I love churros. Sugar Cookie Toast Crunch? Am I lost? And the further out you get from Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the weirder and weirder the streets get. Strawberry Toast Crunch? Cinnamon Toast Crunch Remix? Yeah, honey, it's saying Dulce de Leche Toast Crunch. I didn't even know Dulce de Leche Toast existed. I can't find it. And at that point, you're probably wishing you hadn't traveled so far. You're wishing for that old simplicity of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You want to go back home to there, and maybe over the horizon you think you can see it. But the entanglement of roads that are between you and it are just so confusing, you have no other way to get back but to go off-road! CINNA FUEGO Toast Crunch. What the f*** is this? Do we have any viewers out there who have warm, fuzzy, nostalgic memories about how their grandma used to get everybody around come breakfast time and make them some delicious, red-hot, tongue-burning toast? I'm willing to wager that is not the case, and I'll tell you what the heck this is. This is the result of one of two things. Number one, they're out of ideas. And number two, they're jumping on the damn bandwagon. Hot stuff has existed as far back as I can remember. As a matter of fact, I have clear memories of going back in the early 90s and seeing kiosks at the mall that specialized in selling nothing but the most hot sauces that you could ever imagine, hot sauces that were punishing. There were hot sauces in there that were in little medical bottles because if they didn't put them in there, they would bleed through the bottle and infect your eyes. And all those kiosks went out of business because they were way ahead of their time. Only now has it become popular to burn your mouth out of your mouth. And I've got an out-the-box strategy for all my entrepreneurial viewers out there. We already did sour things. There was one point where everything was sour. That kind of trailed off in popularity. Now everything is hot. Eventually, might take a few years, but that popularity is going to wane as well. What else can a mouth endure? It doesn't even have to taste good. What more can your mouth endure that you can patent and sell? Just think about it for a second, and you start working on that right now. What about something that's really, really bitter? Can you picture all the young kids getting together for that? Like a little powwow, the face-sucking grapefruit challenge? It sounds painful. Speaking of which, let me take my first sniff, and I'll let you know what I think of CINNA FUEGO Crunch. This is cereal? It smells like those red-hot candies, and this is coming from a cereal product. This is like puffed wheat and rice. I couldn't picture eating this like a cereal. I couldn't picture putting milk on this. I mean, they say that milk nullifies hot, so I guess that kind of defeats the purpose, right? And I don't normally eat my cereal with milk. You probably know that about me already, but you know, when I've had cereal on this show, normally I put the milk on it anyway and I eat it because that's the way cereal is intended to be eaten, and I want to grade it thusly. I'm not gonna do that with this because I'm pretty sure that you're not supposed to put milk on this. Because, well, look at it, it's an anomaly, it's an experiment. They're telling you right out the bag. And you know what? I said out the bag, usually I say out the box, but no, they put it in a bag. You're just supposed to sit with and eat it like a snack. So I am gonna sit here before you and eat it like a snack. Yeah, it tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch with very, very potent cinnamon. If you have a sore throat, I wouldn't suggest you eat this. And I definitely wouldn't suggest eating this first thing in the morning. I mean, unless you want it to shock you awake. I'm not gonna say that it's unbearable, but it is definitely uncomfortable. You eat enough of it, the heat starts to compound, takes over your whole mouth, leaves an uncomfortable sting. It's not something that's gonna have you rushing for water, but I don't know. It's just a weird kind of pain involved with it. I'm sure if you eat enough of this, you're gonna start to feel those little bubbles of perspiration start to appear on your forehead. And I've got a rather sizable forehead. I don't know, it's just uncomfortable, and why the hell would you want this in a breakfast cereal? In fact, because it's so dry, I have a feeling the heat and the dryness together is actually giving me a sore throat. I felt fine before this review. Now my throat kind of hurts. I mean, it was probably a little bit tender from all the screaming that I did earlier. This just put it out of its misery. If I were to give this a star rating, because it's so confused, I mean, it's not the worst thing I've had on the show, but it is so pointless. And this is going to be forgotten in the annals of history. I give this 1 star. Look, I'm not going to say that it didn't accomplish what it set out to accomplish. Oh no, this is exactly what it says it is. It's a red hot cereal that is hot to the point where if you drink anything afterwards, you're not going to taste it because it just basically bastardized your taste buds. Tastes like water. So it accomplished everything it set out to do, but why would you want to do that? And you're probably asking me in a weird way, would I recommend that you try this? And I say, sure, go ahead. If you are weird. Because you would have to be weird to even entertain this idea. Did you ever want to have a red hot breakfast cereal? It exists. It's right here in my hand, living and in the flesh. You could probably go to a supermarket if the scalpers didn't buy all the inventory already because of those magic words, limited edition on the bag. You can go to a supermarket, you could buy some, you could try it for yourself. Is it worth it? Oh, well, you could say you did it, I guess, but it's really nothing to crow about. And lastly, before I go, I want to talk to you about a little behind-the-scenes stuff. A while back, during my cartoon Limbo, The Adventures of Gumby the Complete 50 series, the guys at RB Comics had a little cameo at the end. Alright, DJ, just don't dwell on it. You just took a life, but it's not that big a deal. Just something I'll have to try and keep in mind next time I have to share the screen with pint-sized co-hosts.
Hi, everybody! Who's that guy?
That was actually supposed to set up a collaboration between our 2 YouTube channels, and we had a script all written up to review what is called a creepy pasta. Perhaps some of you out there know what it is. I didn't know what it was, but RB Comics had to school me on it. From what I understand, it's basically a thought-provoking horror fanfic, usually involving some kind of homemade, marketable Freddy Krueger-style character, many times attempting to explain the creepy underbelly of untold pop culture. You ever wonder what happened to that middle child from Family Matters? There's probably a creepypasta out there explaining it. Someone needs to write a creepypasta about the Cinnamon Toast Crunch bakers, because something weird is going on there. In the beginning, there were 3 of them, and they all seemed happy together. They shared a kind of brotherly bond. We didn't know any of their names, but it didn't matter because they were a package deal. Where one went, the other 2 were sure to follow. Then there was the turning point. There was one commercial where one of the bakers, the gray-haired one, got himself a name. They called him Wendell. The other 2's names remained a mystery, but suddenly one of they had an identity, and he had snapped. It seemed like the other 2 bakers had a real tough time trying to keep him under control. They literally had to hold him back like a mental patient. Wendell's love for Cinnamon Toast Crunch ruled his life now, and it looked like nothing else mattered to him. Especially not his brothers. Then, the very next commercial, there stood Wendell, alone. His brothers, nowhere to be seen. What happened to them? What did he do to them? Was he so enamored with his Cinnamon Toast Crunch that he needed to be the only one who could create it? Did he have to murder the other two bakers to ensure that every bit of Cinnamon Toast Crunch would be under his ever-watchful eye? How many more has Wendell killed in fits of his maniacal rage? Every time that you buy a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, does that put you on his hit list? To all the budding writers out there, give those keyboards a workout and give me a link when you're done because I'm curious to see what you come up with. This is your good buddy DJ Clive saying until next time, I'll see you in Limbo!